Welcome to this 25th anniversary screening of The Joy Luck Club by Wang. If you're here, it's because you have the best quality heart. Someone who really knows this movie. To begin, we want to acknowledge where we are today, the land that we're on. This is the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of the New Credit and the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and Huron-Wendat First Nations. They've been looking after this land for thousands of years, and we're grateful to be a part of this community. This is the 25th anniversary of this film, The Joy Luck Club, and we're grateful to Walt Disney Studios, Motion Pictures Canada, and Walt Disney US for providing us with a brand new copy of this film for you to see today. It looks beautiful. And I'm so grateful to Wang, his actors who were able to make it, and everyone from the team behind this film who've really joined in a celebration of this film. It's a historic film for so many reasons. 25 years ago, we were in this very theater, not me, but others, including Wang, were in this very theater to present it to an audience. And I don't think anybody knew at that point how historic this film would be. You know, we look to movies to do a lot of things, to make us laugh, to make us cry, to take us away somewhere else for a couple of hours. But we also look to movies, sometimes even without thinking about it, to show us ourselves. We look to movies as a kind of a mirror, a very flattering mirror. And in 1993, the Joy Luck Club did that. It made us cry, it made us laugh, it took us away. But if you were part of an Asian family in North America, it was also that mirror, that too rare mirror of your own, some part anyhow, of your own family life. And it was a long time before a Hollywood studio was able to do that again, and they did it this year with Crazy Rich Asians, which some of you might have seen. In the meantime, we had wonderful independent films, including here in Canada, from filmmakers like Mina Shum, in the US from filmmakers like Justin Lin, and also, of course, from Wang himself, who continued to make films. I think that's my aunt-in-law over there waving at me. Hi. So embarrassing. Wayne is a remarkable filmmaker. He was born in Hong Kong. He's made a number of films, including Chan is Missing in 1982, Dim Sum, A Little Bit of Heart in 84, Slam Dance in 87, Eat a Bowl of Tea in 89, Life is Cheap, Smoke, Made in Manhattan, so many films that really explored a range of perspectives on contemporary life, both here in North America, but also in Asia, and he continues to make great work. He had at the festival, in addition to the Joy Luck Club, Blue in the Face in 1995, Chinese Box in 97, Anywhere But Here in 1999, and most recently, he was here with 1,000 Years of Good Prayers in 2007. We're very pleased that he's come back. He and I have been talking for quite a while over the last few months about bringing this film to you today, and he wanted to do it right here in this very theater where it all started in Canada, and he's been joined by some of the actors. I want to bring them out to introduce the film to you, and of course they'll be back for Q&A afterwards with the amazing Lainey Liu, who I think is known to all of us. But right now I want to introduce from the film Tamlin Tomita, who played Waverly, Hugh Chin, who played Suyan Wu, Sai Chin, who played Auntie Lindo, the casting director of the Joy Luck Club, Heidi Levitt, and the director, Wang.
I just want to say a few words before we start. 25 years ago, I saw Joy Luck Club in this very theater and was very touched by it myself, even though I had seen it maybe 100 times by then. So I'm very happy that Cameron invited us to come back to this very theater And I'm going to sit through the movie again and watch it one more time. Thank you. I hope you all enjoy it.
Hi. Should I give you like another minute to recover from the tears and the emotion? My name is Lainey Louie. I'm one of the hosts of The Social on CTV and a reporter on eTalk and a major fan of the Joy Luck Club, and so it is my honor to moderate this Q&A. We're going to do 10 to 15 minutes of questions with me, and then I'm going to throw it open to you. So get your questions ready, speak loudly, and you'll get a chance to meet the director and some of the cast members. So here we are. This is Q Chin. That's Sai Chin, Tamlin Tomito, Wayne Wang, and casting director Heidi Levitt. So, first of all, welcome back. It's been 25 years in this very theater. How do you feel, all of you, after this time and coming back to Toronto at TIFF and bringing the film back for its 25th anniversary?
Well, I cried the first time I watched it, even though I know the film so well.
You made it.
I made it, and I cried again. And I was telling Q Chin, when she says, "I see you," to Ming Na, I just broke out. I don't, maybe it's this theater.
It's a beautiful theater.
Yeah.
How has it been for the rest of you to come back, or this whole year, to reflect on 25 years of the Joy Luck Club and how it has resonated with audiences and is reaching a new generation of viewers?
Who's asking me or asking you?
All of you. Anyone. Wayne, do you want to give?
I cry again.
You have a mic. There you go.
I cry again tonight. I don't know the way Amy Tan wrote the story and the way Wayne Wang tells the story. The way he make all of us, each one of us, I just told him on the way up here, every single actor in the movie, from our generation to the second daughter generation to all the young kids, every one of them was wonderful. Now this is, I have to say the credit from our casting director, Heidi Levitt. She make every family, right? Every faces. Yeah. Yes, thank you. Every faces of family are so look alike, right? So when I see my family, I say, oh yes, look like my own family, Yeah, because the casting, really amazing casting. Thank you so much, Heidi. And really, the Joy Luck Club changed my life. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Well,
All of them in their own
How do
way.
I feel? Older. I was already old. Now I'm ancient. I have to thank, first of all, Amy Tan, who's not here, who wrote the book. Because of Joy Luck Club, I began my 4th acting career. And 60 years later, here I am, still sitting, and I can stand up too. And I have never said that in public, But I will say something that, with Heidi's help, I am so impressed, of course, by the cast of the adults, notwithstanding, but the children of Joy Luck Club, every one of them, they were so absolutely wonderful. And I am now going to be very chauvinistic and say, if it were not a Chinese director, the children will not be cast as well as it did. True, really true. So,
She was like this on the set. She really never listened to me.
So, I will just say that this is my daughter. I don't have one in real life, okay? The two things I don't have in real life I wanted was not necessary in that order, a big dog and a real daughter. But I have her. And I have to admit already that I love her mother more than her. This is true. So thank you for asking us here. And I am very happy to be still alive. And
Woo!
Heidi, why don't I pick up on that a little bit because of what Sai just said about casting. The excuse that we hear from people who can't cast films that are diverse and representative and inclusive is that the actors aren't out there and the talent isn't out there. And what you did for a film 25 years ago is you found this cast, and it was complete top to bottom. So can you comment a little bit on the work that you did on casting this film so that we could enjoy these performances?
Sure, I think it was always misunderstood when you say the actors weren't out there. The talent was out there, the roles weren't out there. So they had all acted, I mean, Tamlin had done Come See the Paradise before this. She was in the West End when we cast her and doing wonderful theater. Q Chin I met because I had worked on Oliver Stone's movie Heaven and Earth, and she'd been a very well-known actress in Vietnam. So the point was that there weren't enough roles where they were being recognized because they were made to play very small roles, like Rosalind Chow was on MASH, you were on MASH also, Q Chin, but in small roles. So I think the Joy Luck Club allows us to see a universal story of mothers and daughters, of generations, of immigrants. I mean, I feel an honorary Asian in the family as a Jewish girl from Montreal. And I completely understand this, and I think so many of us understand these stories of mothers and daughters and family. So I think it was really misunderstood, and Wayne has said this before, but like Jeffrey Katzenberg said to him, you know, you've got to find the right cast. I'm not sure you're going to find the right cast. And the fact was that we did find the right cast, and we were able to do open calls, which is something that isn't done as much today. And it was also a hands-on process that we got 6 months to go all over the place. We did a wonderful open call in Queens where we cast some of these characters in the new Chinatown there. And in San Francisco, we also cast a lot. And then I went also into Monterey Park, which was like the new Chinatown of Los Angeles, and found a lot of the Mandarin-speaking roles. So it took groundwork. you had to be a detective. And I love to research, so for me it was really an honor to be able to do this.
Wayne, I want to follow up with you.
Thank you.
Well, I was going to just quickly say that casting is usually 90% of really the performance. So when Heidi did such a good job with all these people, and these people came, and Auntie Lindo told me how to direct. So it was quite easy, from there. Anyway.
Well, what Sai said was that she said it was critical and necessary for you to be the director, for a Chinese person to be the director. And so we have been having conversations in the culture right now about who gets to tell whose stories. Can you talk about I don't want to say ownership of the story, but the leadership you took in taking on this story and telling it the way that it should have been told from the very beginning to the last frame?
I think it's genetic, so it's either in your blood because you're born and raised with it, and there are all these details that come because of that. I don't think, unless they sort of live this life and have those genes, that you can do it. There are some other stories you can, but I think this one is so specifically Chinese. The way Amy Tang wrote it, a lot of the details, a lot of the stories are true stories of real people. And I read it and I saw it right away. And when we discussed it at our first meeting, it became clear that, I think to her, that I could carry out that vision and make it happen.
Tamlin, Awkwafina, who's an actor who was in a film called Crazy Rich Asians, said recently that Joy Luck Club is Titanic for Asian Americans. That is the impact of the film, without the whole sinking ship.
I'm queen
thing.
of the world.
Right? And what she meant was that for a generation of Asian Americans and Canadian Asians, many of whom are in this audience, and I'm including myself, it was the first time we saw an English language film where people looked like us and represented our families. What did it mean for you to be part of this film, and what has it meant for your career? And can you talk about how the impact of that has meant to you, but also in your professional life?
Wow, that's such a long answer. First off, shout out to Mrs. Judy Young, Lainey's mother.
That's my mother. Hi, Mom.
Hi. But looking at Joy Luck Club with hindsight right now in 2018, it's like if I see young people like this who just saw Crazy Rich Asians, which opened August 15th, just a month ago, and to see those faces, them falling in love, them in this wonderful country called Singapore, but they're speaking Mandarin Chinese, so you feel some kind of a connection, especially if you're Chinese Canadian. It harkens back to when a variety of audience members here, including Lainey, we got to see our faces. It's like for the first freaking time, we're the characters of the we're the lead characters of the story. We're the only characters in this story. It feels like we belong. We don't feel otherized. We don't feel different. We feel authentic, and that we exist, and that these stories, being Asian American, being Asian North American, is that we belong, and that's always felt a responsibility to make sure those stories keep being told. That's why I support young filmmakers, support older filmmakers, support older actors and actresses to make sure that our stories kept being told. But it always doesn't have to be about immigrants. It doesn't always have to be about the trials and tribulations of mothers and daughters. It's just about falling in love. It's about finding a job. It's about, figuring out if you want to have a family. This is the
the hope that we had with Joy Luck. It didn't open the door that much, and it took 25 years before Crazy Rich Asians did, but I feel in the room as well as around the world that it's finally busted down the doors. I just warn that we don't see another replica of Crazy Rich Asians, that we're going to see. I think I'm seeing Lazy Rich Asians as a pitch to ABC, or poor rich Asians, or poor crazy Asians. I go, okay, that just sounds like more of the same stuff. So we have to be aware. So I encourage young people to tell your stories, to ask for your stories from your parents, from your grandparents, and hopefully that will inspire other writers to write down the stories, other actors to find out their stories, for other directors, for other producers to find these stories to be told. And it's a long progression, and I just feel honored to be in this room and to be with you, Lainey. You know, to be, you know, to witness how much of an impact when we were 25 years younger, you know, seeing our faces on the screen and saying, oh my God, you know, she's so mean.
When you were...
No.
Wayne, when you were casting this and when you were meeting with the actors, I read that you asked each actor who they most identified with. And having met and spent a little bit of time with the people on stage right now, it's pretty much an exact match. Did it feel that way to you at the beginning?
It did. I think that was just the confirmation part. I remember Heidi had faces of different mothers and daughters on her wall. And there were different choices.
Like combinations?
Combinations.
Okay.
And I think there were definitely certain faces that match other faces better. And so when they came in, we actually took these pictures down, and we were trying to see who they thought they would play in this. And usually it matched up pretty well.
And you said that you most identified with the character that you ended up playing. Is that true?
Yes, I have the feeling when I work in this production, I'm not an actor. I just live the real life of the character that Amy Tan wrote, that the way Wang wanted to tell the story. I don't have to act. It's there. It's so similar to my own life. It's only the opposite way. I lost my mom when I was a very young child during the Second World War. And I lost my father when I was only 15, again by the war. So I remember when I play the character of Mother Swan that I have to leave my twin in China. I keep thinking of the way that my mom have to left me and my father have to leave me. How painful it were. I remember at the scene in China, that was a very cold, cold morning. Everybody on the set was so serious, so quiet, because Wayne was so serious. And I came to Wayne, I asked him, are there anything you want to tell me how to do the scene? He said that, I know a little bit about your life story, so just play the way you feel. It doesn't matter what language you speak. I just want you emotional. I just want you feeling. So, at the scene, if you really listen of the scene when I cry out, I did not speak English or Chinese. I speak Vietnamese at the scene. I call out my child, con ơi, con, in Vietnamese. But it doesn't matter. It is international language, the love, the emotional, and the art. So I feel so honored that thanks again to my whole Joy Luck Club family, that I belong to this family. I'm part of the family. Thank you.
So as promised, if you have any questions, the question portion I'm going to throw open to you. Don't be shy. We've all shared some emotion here tonight. So please shout out your questions. Hi.
So with all the talk about Crazy Rich Asians, why do you think it took 25 years for another movie in all Asian cast?
Can you all hear the question? Oh, yeah. So she's asking, with all the excitement about Crazy Rich Asians, why do you think it took 25 years for a movie like that to happen between the Joy Luck Club and Crazy Rich Asians?
Well, because Hollywood is basically scared all the time. And ultimately, it's about money and how much money they make. And that's the bottom line, you know? So again, hopefully, I think what is important is for you to support these movies and not let these movies just make a hit and then disappear again. Because these are your stories and they should be told.
Over here.
I just wanted to say that I'm extremely grateful to be in this room where it all started. I wanted to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I was 18 when the movie came out, and I watched it with my mom and my sister. My mom was in the middle. The two of us were holding my mom's hand. The three of us were crying watching the whole thing, and it was so beautiful. And to be here today with my family, holding my daughter's hand, my son's hand, my husband, I just want to say thank you so much.
Over here.
Well, there is a rumor going around that there might be a possibility. And I have to thank Crazy Rich Asians for it, because now everyone says, oh, we're going to make the next, Asian American movie. So we'll see. We'll see if that's true.
They already owed you to begin with, so don't.
They do.
Over here. Yeah.
Hi, first off, I'd like to mirror your sentiment and say thank you so much for this film. I'm here with my mom today, and we both love the film so much. For so many reasons, the diligent, caring camera of Wang and the irreverent, powerful performances of the amazing ensemble that gives these characters so much agency, which is so amazing. But I wanted to ask, because you seem to have such a beautiful dynamic, what are some of the things you remember the most of your day-to-day on set? And what was that dynamic like for all of you?
Favorite memories when you were working on set?
Day-to-day
Day to day.
set?
Yeah.
Well,
No, not that one. No.
I wanted to play Auntie Lindo because I know she's a very difficult person, and I don't have any problems with that. So I am paired off with Tamlin, and we shot the second week, right?
Yes.
Second week. And it was the salon scene. And it happens that, I just happen to love my mother, all right? So that's another reason I love Auntie Lindo because she loved her mother. Another thing I like about Auntie Lido is because her mother has taught her, as my mother has, and there's no, otherwise there wouldn't be any Me Too movement nowadays, okay? To be who she is. And Auntie Lindo, even when she was a child, knew who she is. And as I, too, know who I was, because I was taught by my mother. And therefore, during the salon scene, I have asked Wayne to always record a sentence. And I can't remember exactly what the sentence is, but that sentence just kind of got me going for the scene. And she was very hurt, Auntie Lindo, by the fact that she thought that her daughter looks down on her. And that was totally unacceptable to her. So it is a wonderfully written scene in the sense there's a beginning, the middle, and the end. And that was a very memorable scene for me, and to be a little bit cliche, also very cathartic.
Well, I kind of am in a position to ask you, what do you think happened? Because if the doors had opened like you have hopefully stated, I think you would have seen Ming-Na, Rosalind, Lauren, Q, Lisa, France, Tsai, and myself, starring in other movies and television shows, and that didn't quite happen. We're really, really lucky now that Ming is still on Agents, and Andy Mack is Lauren's thing, and Rosalind's doing Mulan. But so again, looking at Joy Luck Club's success, it was a modest success. $10 million budget, it made $35 million in total. Crazy Rich made $35 million in its first weekend, so there's the comparison there, right? So hopefully Crazy Rich, it'll again bust down those doors. But again, what I said, and coupled with what Wayne said, it's all about money. So you be aware about what the next step is after Crazy Rich. Is it going to be a repeat? Call it out and say, no, that's bullshit. Oops, sorry. because it's about the money machine. So there always has to be a balance between making money, because that's how we are in a capitalistic society, it's honest. But we also have to balance it with the integrity of stories being told. And it doesn't always necessarily have to be just about Asians, because we're Asian North Americans in this room. But we have to support our gay LGBTQ brothers and sisters. We have to support our black brothers and sisters, our Latinos, our indigenous peoples. We have to support everyone to make sure that their stories don't get invisibilized. That we don't necessarily have to be, we populate the next Marvel movie with, people of color. Hey, wow, that's really new. But it's just about, saying that, dudes, we have hearts, we have souls, we have minds, we have faults, we have flaws, and we're super freaking interesting. So that's what I'd like to put out there.
We have time for one more question. I think you've been standing up for a while.
I wanted to ask about leadership change. There's been a lot of discussion about how Les Moonves
Well, I just want to answer your question and also follow up on Tamlin. I think that we have to control our own destiny. I think there are so many crazy rich Asians in this town, in San Francisco, in New York. Put up your money and tell those stories. They don't have to be a lot of money. I just made a film for under $1 million. You know, you can make films that are really powerful for limited budgets, but I think we have to control our own destinies.
Yeah, I want to also second on that because the Joy Luck Club was made by Hollywood Pictures, but it was really an independent film. And independent cinema, Wayne is a great example of an independent filmmaker. We are speaking our truths. It is up to us to do that. And there was a moment right after Joy Luck Club where we were working together, Wayne and I, on 2 films that were also about Vietnamese immigrants, and there was a much more Hollywood story about a detective that we were doing also with a lead actress who was Vietnamese that was supposed to be, but they stopped because the moment passed because Joy Luck Club made $35 million, but the marketing of Joy Luck Club was nothing like the marketing of today. So the whole industry changed. But we can't be dependent on Hollywood. We are artists. We have to tell our stories, and it's going to be up to us, and you have to support independent cinema. And yes, we can all watch things on Netflix at home and Amazon, and I'm all for content, you know, everywhere, but coming to the cinema is special. You're all here, and we have to keep doing it.
I see that in the audience there are many, many Asians. And before I, as the British say, kick the bucket, I now have a sort of a mission. I come from Shanghai, and my parents' history was a very turbulent one. Those of you may or may not know, China was colonized, bullied by Western powers. So I come from a very progressive family. My father happens to be one of the great actors of last century. So I was taught already that, as I already said, that you know, I am somebody. But when I come to America, I found that Asian Americans see themselves as second-class citizens. Although I was part of a colonized place, but I never felt I was a second-class citizen. And there is a huge difference, which I slowly discovered. The problem about feeling that you're a second-class citizen is that you feel that you are a victim. Yes, of course, you are a victim. But I'm telling young people, and it's better now because most Asians are more integrated. I can tell by they're not becoming engineer only, accountant only, or doctors only. All right? They're lawyers. They're political commentators. Therefore, what's the difference? They know the language. So I'm trying to, especially to Asian actors, they always complain. Now, we have to fight. We have to fight the ceiling, the glass ceiling, but we must not whine. Because whining gets very, very repetitive, and it's like a gramophone record. And then people, the film people, the industry, treat you like a victim. What happens then? Oh, we're casting her, we're doing her a favor or him a favor. We don't have to pay him more because he or she an agent. And if you're a woman, even worse. So now I'm telling all the, Asian Americans. And lastly, I want to say to you Canadians, I'm thank you for two things. One is Sandra Oh. Because I know perhaps if she were born in America, she would not have gotten where she is now. I don't know where that talent come from, all right? I just simply don't know. The other thing is your, I don't know, you call it prime minister, right? Like in England. Okay, unfortunately, I can't boast mine. No, you hesitant. Of course, I knew of his parents. I didn't know them, but they were very glamorous. But he's young, he's very handsome. Who doesn't? I really feel, I'm sorry to be very political, because I was born, in a political situation when I was young. So I feel that Canada and France are going to be the next future for the West. And if I get into trouble in America, if you can, come and save me.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Please, one more time for the team of the Joy Luck Club and the 25th anniversary.